Do you want to build one of the most iconic hot hatches around? If so, you're in the right place, so stick around. Hi, I'm Xander, and welcome back to my channel, Boosted Blueprints, the channel where I lay out the blueprint for your next build. We'll be covering everything from a simple Stage 1 remap all the way through to Stage 2 Plus and exterior modifications along the way. And if you stick around till the end, we'll be pricing it up on our magical shopping list. Today, we'll be looking at none other than the iconic Fiesta ST. This car is absolutely superb. It puts big power into a small engine, which is never ever dull and always exciting. Jamie at Officially Gassed has actually built a Stage 4 Fiesta ST, which you can go and check out on his channel, as he does a full cost breakdown of a Stage 3 and gives you a great review of the car. The Ford Fiesta ST 180 is a proper little pocket rocket, packing a 1.6 litre turbocharged EcoBoost engine with 180 horsepower and 214 foot-pounds of torque. It smashes 0 to 60 in just 6.9 seconds and handles like a go-kart, thanks to its lightweight chassis and sharp steering. With a slick 6-speed manual and front-wheel drive, it's built for pure driver engagement. The ST180 also comes with Recaro seats, sporty suspension, and enough tuning potential to punch well above its weight class. It's small, fast, and full of character. Everything you want from a little hot hatch. As always, let's start looking on Auto Trader for a platform for our build. We'll be looking at under 80,000 miles, a good service history and clean bodywork. These start from around 6k, and some examples have already been mapped to Stage 1 because it's an easy way to get a lot more excitement for a little money. Now, let's see how we can build this into this. Let's dive into those mods and start building that blueprint. With its very pokey 1.6 turbo EcoBoost engine, the Fiesta ST is great fun. With a Stage 1 map, you'll be seeing around 215 horsepower, but it's the responsiveness that comes with it that makes this an absolutely wicked car to drive. A Stage 2 will have your ST around 240 horsepower, which really starts making this a proper little pocket rocket. Let's start by having a look at some of the most popular tuners for your Fiesta, starting with the popular Collins Performance map at only £295. Next up, of course, we have Dream Science, the Ford Specialist, at only £500. And last up, the extremely popular Revo. For this build, we have to go with Dream Science, so let's add £500 to our shopping list. For a fun little hot hatchback, the ST comes with some pretty good internals, such as the ST180 clutch, which already can hold quite a lot of horsepower. But let's dive into those mods for the Stage 2 build that will confuse all those cars that can't gap you with over 100 horsepower more than you. Building an ST can be done on quite a reasonable budget, so let's dive in to those intakes that will fit into your budget. Let's kick off with a reputable Cobb intake at a good price of only £450. Next up, we have the CPE Ram Air intake at a slightly steeper price of £580. And finally, the one brand we'll see a lot throughout this build, Mountune, at a great price of only £600. As it is a budget build, I mean, even if it wasn't, Cobb is one of the best options, so let's add £450 to our shopping list. Next up, of course, everyone's favourite Stage 2 mod, the Downpipe. So let's kick off with looking at the very budget option, Whoosh, at a staggering low of £160. Back again, we have Cobb, a brilliant option at a steeper price, but absolutely worth it at £590. Then finally, of course, we have Mountune at a higher price of £650. For this budget build, let's take Whoosh and add £160 to our shopping list. The Catback exhaust has always been my favourite modification for any car, just because when I was 8 years old, looking at cars, I assumed changing the exhaust would make it much louder and much faster, which we know isn't the case nowadays, but absolutely at the time, I thought it would be the coolest modification on a car. So let's have a look at some Catback exhaust that will fit into your budget. Let's start off with my favourite, Scorpion, coming in at only £540. Next up, of course, we have Mountune at another great price of £625. We might as well just build a full Mountune at this point. And last up, we have another fantastic choice, Cobra, at only £650. As they're all similar prices, let's go with Mountune and add £625 to our shopping list. A Stage 2 intercooler on the Fiesta ST is definitely needed if you're pushing past Stage 1. So let's have a look at some options that'll fit into your build. Kicking off with a great budget option, R-Sport, coming in at a fantastically low £180. Next up, we have Dorenza, coming in at a slightly steeper price of £350. And finally, Do I need to mention their name? Of course not. It's AirTech, the absolute intercooler fanatics at only £450. Of course, we have to go with a famous AirTech, so let's add £450 to our shopping list. With all these modifications to the Stage 2 remap, you'll be seeing around 240 to 250 brake horsepower, which is absolutely amazing out of such a little car. And there's nothing more satisfying than driving down those B roads with your mates in their 300 brake horsepower cars and they still can't gap you. As I mentioned in the start of this video, the clutch in the ST180 is pretty strong and it can actually last you a good while throughout your build. But if you want to go Stage 2, let's look at another great option. And this is why we're looking at the ST200 clutch, as it's a fantastic option and it only comes in at £275. So let's add that to our shopping list. The Mk7 ST looks fantastic for its age, especially considering it came out, I believe, in 2013. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but there's plenty of aftermarket support to help fit your Fiesta and make it stand out from the crowd. So let's start by having a look at some wheels that will fit onto your Fiesta ST. There's plenty of great options out there and some really popular choices. People love just converting the ST180 with the ST200 wheels, and these come in from Ford at only about £1,200 for a set, which is an absolutely amazing deal. Next up, we have actually the Mark 8 wheels that fit onto the ST180 absolutely perfectly, and these again come in at just over £1,200 for a set. I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but somewhere like Wheelbase Alloy or Alloy Wheel Shop or any other big aftermarket manufacturer of rims is just such a good choice for your build, because they offer rims from as little as £400 to £500 or rims that are forged and can cost an arm and a leg, so check them out. Comment down below on the rims you're rocking on your Fiesta ST or which you choose for your next build. For this build, I personally go with something like the Romac Pulses from Wheelbase Alloy. So let's add £500 to our shopping list. Anyone who loves playing Gran Turismo or tearing up those B roads knows just how important handling is. Plus, who doesn't want it to sit low so everyone else can admire your car? Let's have a look at the most popular coilovers to fit your Fiesta, the Bilstein B14s, coming in at a very good price of only £920. If you want to save a little bit of money, the Puma Speed lowering springs are a great option at only £150. For this build, we have to go with the coilovers, so that's £920 onto our shopping list. Lastly, body kits. As always, Maxton Design and Colin Performance can offer some great aesthetic mods to fit your budget and your build. This is where my favourite mod is, so stick around and you'll find exactly which one I think is the coolest mod for any car. Kicking off with a Delta spoiler, and this starts at a really good price of only £320. Next up, my favourite spoiler, just because it gives a proper WRC look, the AirTech, coming in at £570. The full low-line kit comes in at a really good price of only £445. And finally, here we go, the Focus RS lookalike front bumper, and this takes the Fiesta to a completely different level and just looks absolutely crazy cool. Now we've come to the end of the build, let's take a look at the final cost of the blueprint. As you can see, without going down a complete budget route, you can build an absolute pocket rocket on a really reasonable budget for just under £12,000. And there we have it. The Fiesta ST build is now complete and we can add it to the long list of blueprints. I absolutely love this car because with a few modifications, you can keep up round those B roads with cars a hell of a lot more powerful than you. If you've enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And if you want to see more builds, drop a comment below and let me know what you want to see built next. Remember, keep building and stay boosted, and I'll catch you in the next one.